Hi, this is Mike Crow, and I run a home inspection business. In fact, I've run a couple of home inspection businesses. The true joy for me, though, has been helping literally thousands of home inspectors build really solid home inspection businesses as well. We can help a single-man operation be able to do over $300,000 a year, maybe all the way up to $400,000 a year as a single inspector operation. Even better for me is the 80-plus companies that we have helped be able to build million-dollar home inspection businesses. I would like to help you be able to do the same thing. Howdy, howdy. All right, this is Mike Crow, and we have been going through the book, The E-Myth. Now, the newest, latest version of this is called The E-Myth Revisited, which is perfectly fine. I'm going through The E-Myth because that was the original version that I went through. The books are almost identical, and I will tell you that The E-Myth Revisited, again, is probably even better written than the version that I went through. We've been going through the different parts of the business. One of the things we talked about again on the last several podcasts and shows was the fact that there is an entrepreneur, there is a manager, and there is a technician. And I've been explaining to you, especially in our home inspector world, how I've used that model to build our business and to help other people build their businesses as well. Now, the good news is we've now used this along with some of the marketing techniques and systems that I put into place in just about every type of business you can imagine. Roofing businesses, dental businesses, dry cleaners, all types of businesses out there, whether they were service businesses or professional businesses and or even product type businesses. Now, we're going to dive into part 2 of the book this time, and it's called The Turnkey Revolution, A New View of Business. And I want you to write these 3 words down. And if you don't write them down right now, then just remember at the beginning of this segment, maybe go back and listen to these again. But these 3 words, and I didn't even really realize it came straight from this book. But in about the last 2 or 3 years, these 3 words started coming back to the top of my conscious memory, and I've been working very diligently to make sure that we're putting them into place. The first word is systems. The first word is systems. So you need to have systems in your business. We'll talk about that more here in a second. The second word is people. You need to make sure you have people that can help you run those systems so that you don't have to run them. And then the third word is resources. Once you have systems in place and people in place, your resources start growing. I'm going to tell you a little secret. Don't tell anybody I told you this. But my wife gets a little bit itchy. Let's just use that word better than some others, and maybe not as good as or as correct as I could be. But if I say, it sure is nice to be rich, boy, that just really chaps her just a little bit, okay? And so at some point, I started saying, it sure is nice to have resources. It's kind of the same thing, but to her, it's not, and so that works really well for me. So I want you to think, do you have systems in your business? Do you have people running those systems? Is that business building you resources that you can use not only to continue building the business, continue to support the people running the systems, maybe even build new systems? Is it taking care of you in the process as well? So we are diving into Chapter 7, and Chapter 7 is called The Turnkey Revolution. Now, you have to understand this book, I picked it up probably 20 plus years ago, but even then, what was written in this book wasn't really that brand new. And yet, even today, as I teach it, people are seeing it as brand new information. So as you're building a business, one of the biggest things you want to do is basically set it up so that it is running like a turnkey revolution. So if you think about franchises, and we're going to mention franchises a lot here, and here's some good news is, I'm not selling a franchise. I will tell you I came like this close, okay, really close to turning my business into a franchise, and then as I studied it more, I went, I don't want to do that. So I kind of became the unfranchised model in the home inspection world. And honestly, the unfranchised model in a number for people, teaching them how to build their business so that they don't have to go buy a franchise. And look, franchises are great and they're amazing. in the home inspection world, it's not as good as some others. So, McDonald's, it may be the world's #1 best franchise and model and system out there for people to buy into. And the numbers are just phenomenal. Now, it costs more and more and more to get a McDonald's franchise, but it's darn near guaranteed for it to work. Unfortunately, in other franchises, especially in the home inspection world, it's not guaranteed. All right. I will tell you that when I coach people, one of the things I tell them is, if you'll do what I'm telling you here, I guarantee my coaching. And so it's kind of an interesting side note, because if you know what you're doing and you know it works every single time, why wouldn't you guarantee it? So, for instance, we guarantee our home inspection, which blows people's minds. And I can tell you more about that and how we set it up to not only protect ourselves, but protect the clients and use it as a marketing piece as well. So coming back to the turnkey revolution, one of the things you need to know is at the heart of what they call the turnkey revolution is when franchises really took off, and they did about 20 years ago in our world. It's a way of doing business that has the power to dramatically transform any company from a condition of chaos to a condition of order, excitement, and continuous growth. Order, excitement, and continuous growth. And that's what you really want in a business. And the reason franchise models are so important is so many people, they know how to do the technical part, but they don't know how to run the business. They don't know how to build the business itself. And so when you talk about a turnkey revolution, and by the way, turnkey means basically all you do is have to put the key in and turn the key and it starts up, like your car would be the day you buy it. So your car is a turnkey revolution, all right? And you can have a business that way as well, as long as you're willing to put the right pieces in place. And ultimately, the turnkey revolution becomes a very balanced approach to building a business. So the franchise phenomena really took off. And again, I'm going way back here, but in 1984 alone, franchises rang up over $400 billion in sales. And so basically one out of every three retail dollars spent in the nation went into a franchise business, okay? And franchise became the largest employer, of high school youth in the country's economy. Go back to that sentence for a second. Franchises became the largest employer of high school youth because they set a system up so that it was so simple that the lowest common denominator, someone totally unskilled, untrained, could run the systems in a lot of cases. So it's the business format, the franchise, that has revolutionized the American business. And I did exactly the same thing inside my business. Now, at some point, keep in mind that when you build this, it makes the business easier to sell or it makes the business easier to run, and you don't have to be there. I chose the second part of that. I did sell one of my businesses. I sold it for over $1 million, and it was kind of a super cool thing. But then I realized once it was sold, I didn't have the goose that laid the golden egg anymore, and I wanted to make sure I have that. So having a franchise format business, it's the key to understanding how a very successful business will run. The franchise format, it lends itself to especially smaller enterprise types businesses. And of course, a lot of them have grown to be multi-mega businesses out there. And but it also provides the franchisee or the person buying the franchise with an entire system of doing business. So one of the challenges, especially in the home inspection world, is that people sell franchises, and some of them are very good, but it's almost impossible for them to give you the entire model. Now, they say they do, but what I watch is about 3 years into it, pieces of it start missing that you need to really get the benefit of sending them anywhere from 6% to 10% of your gross revenue each and every month to have them as part of the system and everything. And I'm not going to go into what's missing there. What I'm trying to do is go into what you need to build your business. Most business founders believe that the success of a business resides in the success of the product it sells. Most people believe that the success of a business resides in the success of the product it sells. And yes, you do have to have a good product. You do have to have a good service. But that is not the key to being successful. And in fact, there was a time before franchises, way back even more, that was true. Man, if you get the best service, then you got all of the business, okay? But if you want to grow a business, especially and not have to be there, well, it just isn't true anymore, all right? And so what I want you to understand is that the true product of a business is not what it sells, but how it sells it. Let me say that again. The true product of a business is not what it sells, but how it sells it, all right? And the true product of a business is the business itself. And so that's one of the reasons that I have the ability to be able to help so many people across North America, whether it's a home inspection business or whether it's other types of businesses, is to help them understand that doing a better home inspection is not the goal. Now, again, you want to do a really good, solid home inspection. But just because you have the best home inspection doesn't mean that you're gonna have the biggest business. You may have the best, and maybe you'll be happy, but you'll also probably be still out there working home inspections until you're 50, 60, 70 years old. All right? And what I want you to be able to do, I'm 60 now, what I want you to be able to do is work half a day in your business and be able to have the rest of the time to go do other things that are important. Maybe it's mission trips. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's building other businesses, okay? Whatever that's important to you. So Ray Kroc, the guy that saw the McDonald brothers building the business and everything, he said, I want to franchise this. And by the way, the McDonald brothers had tried to franchise and they had failed. And part of the reason, again, is they failed is that they didn't sit on top of the model. They didn't build the model properly, even though they had a franchise model. And Ray Kroc came in and redesigned it so that he could build it and re-franchise it. And that's the same thing we're doing for home inspectors, is helping them understand how to build that business. So look again at the business as the product. Look at when somebody's coming into it, they're not buying the ability to become a home inspector. They're buying the ability to have a business in the process. And that's, if you're coming into the home inspection business, if you are in the home inspection business, doing a great inspection is great. It's wonderful. It's necessary. But that is just a part of the puzzle. Now we have to figure out and make sure that you have all the other pieces, whether it's the marketing and the admin and the sales, all have to be balanced with that as well. And so a lot of times when somebody's coming into the business, the big thing is they have the desire to buy a complete business. If you ever decide you want to sell your business, you don't want it to be just you. One of the reasons I was able to sell my business for over $1 million was because I didn't work in it day to day. I didn't do any inspections. And that's what that company wanted. They wanted to know, how do we take that and build that to the next level? They had a number of home inspectors across North America, but all of the managers still worked in the business like every single day. I was one of the very few, if not the only one, that didn't. Okay, I think there was one other at the time that didn't. And so make sure that your business works better than any other business out there. One of the reasons we're the largest home inspection business in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is because our overall model is better than any other business here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Our overall model, when you put all the pieces together, is better than any other business. And I will tell you, that's something that we continue to work on. Whether there's a pandemic, okay, or whether there's a bad economy, or whether there's a really good economy. You know, people will make excuses all the time. If your model can work through any of that, all of that, then you're going to survive and play at a much higher level. And, so Ray Kroc understood, by the way, when he was selling these franchises, that he wasn't dealing with, other hamburger franchises. He was competing with every other business opportunity out there. So once Ray Kroc understood this problem, that became his opportunity. He considered it, but he also created a business that would work once it was sold, no matter who bought it. So create your business so no matter who buys it at some point, it will still work. And then once he was armed with that realization, he set about the task of creating a foolproof, predictable business. Now, the cool thing was the McDonald brothers had already done that with their location. And they could use high school kids, and they could use very low-level skilled people to run the business. Now, were they there most of the time to make sure it continued to run? Yes, they were. Okay? And but at some point, you will, in the beginning, be there to make sure that all the systems are being put into place, are set up right, and all the people that are hired are doing the systems properly. But once you have those in place, you can literally take off as much time as you want. Once I built this into my business, I had tried to take 2 weeks off to be in the hospital with my wife. My business fell apart. Once I then put this into place, within a few years, I think it was about 3 years, I was able to take 8 weeks of vacation time and still be able to, my business ran better. In fact, my business grew while I was on those vacations this time instead of falling apart. All right. And so now, because of I've taken it even further. I work basically half a day a week, and I have people that are making sure the systems are right. So think of the business as a product. Is your business good enough that somebody would buy it? And if it's not, you probably built the business wrong. So therein lies the secret behind the stunning success of the turnkey revolution, or the business format franchise. It becomes the launching pad for that turnkey revolution. And the secret is building a franchise prototype. Make sure you write that word down, or think about that word, or remember that word, because you're going to hear me say it a lot. Prototype. One of the reasons my coaching business was so successful is because I also built another home inspection business after I'd sold my first one. When I started coaching, I bought and rebuilt, redesigned another home inspection business so it would become the prototype for other businesses. And we have people come in and out of here almost every week where they ride with our inspectors, or they sit and listen to how we answer the phones, or they ride with our marketing people to see how they can do that sort of thing. Okay? So I just want you to know that there are ways that you can do this sort of thing, where every successful in a franchise prototype, every successful franchise is basically building their future. And you've designed it so that the prototype represents the model that they need to make their business resemble. The prototype is the design that they want to duplicate. You know, it's like a blueprint. It's like a roadmap so that they have that. Well, I will tell you that we are doing some great stuff, and I want you to know, hey, if you want to come see our prototype, I'm going to put some information on my Facebook page and put some information on our podcast page. Just take a look at it and reach out to us, email us, or call us, and I want you to know we will be more than happy for you to be able to come see our prototype as well. This is Mike Crow, and as you will hear me say often, be successful and be around those that are successful. So think of it this way. Why don't you come see a truly successful home inspection business that currently is doing over $2 million a year and has been for like the past 5 years, and we are growing. We had our best year ever last year. Will we have our best year again next year? Well, let's just say we're working very hard at it, so I would hope so as well. How about you? Have you grown just about every year over the last 10 years? See, most people don't. Most people go up and down and up and down. We went through a little of that in the beginning, and then when I discovered this, we realized that there were secrets to building it so that every year was your best year ever. I had one gentleman, I love him, he's out of Ohio. He said, I am having my best year ever 7 years in a row. Now, that was like 10 years ago. He's now running like a $3 million home inspection business. And you can build $1 million business if you want. Or you can stay a single-man operation and do $300,000, $400,000 a year. And if you're not doing that, we can show you how to do that as well. So take a look at our page, take a look at Facebook, take a look at our podcast page, and you'll find out how to be able to contact us. Have a great day. This is Mike Crow. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.